Hello everybody, welcome to a new video on my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be talking about the rainfall totals and temperatures over the entire United States. Let's get right into it. So here's a little map I made. In the lightest green you see 1 to 2 inches of rain. That covers most of the eastern United States, including parts of the Northeast, the Ohio Valley, even down into the South and parts of the Midwest. If you go a little bit more inland, you get 2 to 3 inches of rain, near the Midwest, the Southeast, and the Northeast. 2 to 3 inches of rain could flood some streets, especially in cities where it's mainly concrete and there's not very well good drainage. So be careful for some flooded roads. Make sure to turn around, don't drown. And next we have the 3 to 5 inch category. It's over western Tennessee, and this little area over here, and there's also a little portion here in Minnesota and parts of South Dakota and Wisconsin, and in the UP of Michigan and northern Michigan, as well as New York State and Pennsylvania, parts of northern Pennsylvania and southern New York State. Could see 3 to 5 inches of rain, which could definitely flood some streets. So make sure to be careful when driving. And one little part of the U.S. that I forgot about was the Northwest. They could expect 1 to 2 inches of rain. There's just gonna be some bands that set up over there, move out quickly, but then it's kind of like constant rain for that area, so they won't be able to catch a break. That's why they're getting 1 to 2 inches of rain. And if you're wondering, this is for July 16th to July 19th. That's when the rainfall totals are forecasted for. Let's get right into the models. So we start with the European model, for the precipitation type. So we start with Barry over here, which is going to be moving over here. It's going to give most of the rainfall this week for the Northeast is going to come from Barry moving up and bringing some Gulf moisture up with it. And in Minnesota and Wisconsin, the UP of Michigan, you're going to see this heavy band of rain, which this dark green is 1 inch per hour of rain. So if it sets up for maybe 3 to 4 hours just over the same area, you're going to see 3 to 4 inches of rain, because 1 inch per hour times 3 or 4. And you can see that Barry keeps on moving up, strengthens. It kind of combines with this system, with some of the rainfall from this system that was over Minnesota, kind of combines into Barry, strengthening it again, and helping it push forward with more strength. Over Tennessee and Kentucky, you see those 1 inch per hour bands set up, which could be very dangerous for flooded roads. And this is what I mean by this is the heaviest band that you're going to see from Minnesota and Wisconsin over here. This 1 inch per hour band that covers a good portion of southern and eastern Minnesota and northwestern Wisconsin could just hover over that area. And then it moves into the UP of Michigan and northern Michigan. That's why they're forecasted for 3 to 5 inches as well. Because I believe that band, even though it only goes up to 1 inch, I think that could be an inch and even a half in some areas per hour. And just moving on a little bit, we kind of clear up just some showers. That was up till Friday. So to recap real quick, Barry starts to move up around Tuesday night, and the rain bands set up for Minnesota around Thursday in the morning. They move along, and that brings us all the way until Saturday. So let's move to this is the NAM WRF model, which is a high resolution model, only goes out 60 hours though. So we're going to start You can see Barry. This is a forecasted radar. So this is as high resolution as it gets. So you can see those rain bands start to move up. This precipitation amount is kind of different. This only goes up to 0.75 inches, whereas the European model forecasted for up to an inch of rain per hour. But you can still get the gist of it. So over the Ohio Valley, we got some storms moving over. I wouldn't be surprised if any of these storms have some lightning associated with it. Two strong bands kind of split off. One going into western Iowa and one going into northern Minnesota. As we keep on moving along, you see those bands moving across Philadelphia, New York City, Connecticut, Providence, Rhode Island. So you're really going to see some flooding rains throughout this good. I think you could see about 6 hours of rain out of this system if you live in the Northeast, and you kind of see you see that really heavy rain over here throughout Wisconsin, and it's just going to be moving down over here. And then eventually it just loses all its energy and turns into nothing. So you can see it moving across Michigan. Now in southern New England, you have some rain, and that's where the model stops forecasting. It only goes 60 hours out. Let's go to the rainfall totals. So let's go 72 hours out. That's 3 days out because we're doing a 3-day forecast today. So you see, that's what I'm talking about with the heavy rains. That's 3 to 5 inches right over here. And also for parts of southern New England and the Northeast, especially parts of upstate New York, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, northern New Jersey, northern Pennsylvania, you see another band of anywhere from 2 to even in some isolated spots. I would not be surprised if we reach 4 to 4.5 to even 5 inches of rain. We also have this little band over here. You'll see on the NAM WRF model, when we go to precipitation, you'll see how it has some areas with like 6 inches right in here. So I don't expect that. I would expect maybe 5 inches at the most, because Barry's kind of already moving out of this area. It should be out by about Wednesday. You shouldn't be feeling any effects by Wednesday. Also, here's the 1 to 2 inches of rain in the Northwest, if you were wondering. Parts of North Dakota, Minnesota, South Dakota, even Nebraska could see some rain. Now let's move on to the NAM WRF model for total precipitation. So let's just go all the way until the end. You kind of see like those like lines. That's because it's high resolution, and this is directly associated with this model. That's associated with the precipitation from the NAM-WRF model over here that we just looked at. So this is what they're forecasting for precipitation. As you can see, a max of 8.4 inches right over here. I don't expect you're going to see 8 inches. I would say maybe 6 inches. 7 inches is my max. I don't think we're going to see 8.4 inches of rain. But if the NAM keeps on pulling out high numbers, and maybe even if the European model pulls aboard and gets on the same ship, then maybe I'll switch my mind, but I don't think so. You see a lot of areas in the yellow to the red. That's 1 to 3 inches of rain. And you see it all over the place. You see these kind of tiny bands sit over an area for maybe an hour, 2 hours, and when they're producing an inch to an inch and a half every hour, that's where you start to get some flooding issues. And even this little portion of Wisconsin over here, you could see, according to this model, you could see 3.8 to 4 inches of rain in this area. I do not expect that. I would maybe 3.5 inches, but not 4 inches of rain. That's a bit too much for me. And on Minnesota, we also have the same story in some areas. We have some 4+ inch bands over here, which I do not forecast. I don't think that's gonna happen. And even in Florida, down in Florida, some bands set up, and the Gulf moisture just kept on pushing them onto the coast. So that's why you see the western coast of Florida has so much rainfall in isolated spots. That's 2 to 3 inches of rainfall, which is quite a lot in 60 hours. And finally, if we now we're going to the temperatures. So this is the temperatures based on your normal. So if, let's say, here it is 5 degrees above average, that means that your average for this time of year is 5 degrees less than what you're actually going to see on this day, which makes this an above average day for that area. So you can see from Barry, this is the cold front that was moving past, and also there's some below average over here. That's just because there's some spotty showers, and usually showers tend to bring down the air temperature. Not always, but usually, especially in thunderstorms, as they're using up all the energy in the atmosphere. If we keep on moving on, you see some areas getting even 20 degrees. This isn't Fahrenheit, by the way, and this is the European model. 20 degrees below average in some areas of Arkansas over here, and also 20 degrees below average in parts of South Dakota, North Dakota, and Montana. Let's keep on going here. But as you can see, an overwhelming majority of the United States is under an above average temperature zone compared to average. Some areas can see up to 8 degrees above average on Wednesday. That's not the big thing that we want to talk about. The big day that we want to talk about is this is the big day that we want to talk about. That's Thursday, because we have over Iowa, we have temperatures that are 15, 20 degrees above average. That would be about 100 degrees in Iowa. And we even see a little bit of that near the Washington, D.C. metro area over here, near Delaware, the coast of Virginia. We see some readings. I see a couple of 12s and 13s over there. Let's keep on going. And yeah, this is a big day for the Midwest. You'll see a lot of above average temperatures, a bunch of 17s, 15s, 16s. And as we move on, the weekend is when the Northeast feels this, because this ridge of high pressure. So here, let me explain this to you guys. So that high pressure is sitting over here. All this energy is just moving around the high pressure. So that's why you see this colder air here, and you see this warmer air aloft over here. So you see all these temperatures ridging away from the high pressure, and now there's temperatures almost 20 degrees above average in this area. So yeah, we'll talk about that more as it comes closer to us. As we get closer to the event, we'll talk more about this. But luckily for you guys, there might be a cool down in the east for, what is this, just July 25th. But this is very far out. We don't know yet. But if this is true, I would love to have a cool down. Here it's gonna feel like 100. It's forecasted to feel like 100 degrees today in New Jersey. So I just want to break from all this hot weather. But anyways, if you enjoyed that video, then you should consider subscribing. Maybe leave a like. That greatly helps my channel. I greatly appreciate if you do it. But anyway, that was me. Goodbye.